So, welcome to a special episode of the Programmatic Digest podcast. I have a special guest, Gareth Glasser, on the podcast. How are you doing, Gareth?
Hey, Alan, I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm just peachy. This is crazy because we're recording this podcast literally a couple days after I posted on LinkedIn about the trade desk. And so, if anybody's joining us on YouTube, watching us, or listening to us on those podcast platform, this is exactly what we're going to talk about. The most recent updates about the trade desk, classifying all SSPs as resellers, amongst other things, obviously. But before we even get to that fun conversation, I am so honored to have Gareth on the podcast. He is the expert, the person, the go-to, anything programmatic. I mean, you know what? How about you give us a quick 2, 3 minute introduction of yourself, like who you is, what you do, and then how you landed in the world of ad tech and programmatic.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. So I'm Gareth. I'm currently the CEO of a company called Gamera,
Mhm.
but I have been blessed and cursed to always be in programmatic. It's all I've ever done. So literally my first job out of college was at a company called AppNexus.
Oh.
And I was like a relatively early AppNexus employee. I was thinking like in like the 60s or 70s.
Mhm.
Um, And I was there for a couple of years. And then since then, I've been starting companies.
Okay.
So
Favorite.
my first company I started was actually on the buy side,
Oh,
which was very exciting. So it was a performance marketing company
okay.
that tried to do performance marketing in programmatic,
Uh-huh.
which was really cool, except that it was 2013.
Mm.
And in 2013, man, you guys think programmatic's the Wild West today. In 2013, there were no rules. So literally, we got all these performance buyers online. Like we had all these affiliate companies we were working with. Google Affiliate Network was a thing at the time. We set like literally hundreds of campaigns live and got tens of thousands of clicks and no conversions. And we were just like, "Ooh, this is not good. What is happening here?" Um, but that was what programmatic was in 2013. So we've come a very long way since then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but since that, yeah, oh wow, that was a
The struggle.
rough awakening.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like 24 years old. I like don't really know what I'm doing, and like we,
Um,
we had to pivot quickly. But we pivoted to the sell side, and that was where I got my first exposure to the sell side. I first got to know the sell side, and soon after that, I started my next company, which is called RTK.
mhm,
And RTK was really we scaled it up, we bootstrapped it, we managed header bidding for people.
mhm.
So for all my buy side friends, header bidding is the technology that publishers use
Yeah.
to manage and to all of their ad impressions on all of the ad exchanges.
Mhm,
So when you buy from an exchange, when you log into a DSP and you see like, oh, I'm buying from OpenX, I'm buying from Magnite, wherever,
mhm,
there's actually another auction that happens on the other side of that that the publishers manage.
mhm.
And that was what RTK did. That was my company.
That.
So we existed before header bidding was a thing. And then as pre-bid came into being, we were a pre-bid management company.
Mhm.
I sold that to Rubicon Project, which was one of the exchanges at the time in 2019. I stayed on. I actually was the chair of JS for a few years. I got to see Rubicon become Magnite, which was a wild ride. And since then, I've been running my company, Gamera.
Mhm.
I left it about, I guess, 3 years ago. And
Yeah, and what is
that's me.
Gamera?
That's my life. Yeah. So Gamera is a real-time signal company.
Okay.
So yeah, this is my new pitch. You guys are gonna get my new pitch. I'm
All right,
finishing up
go
raising a
for
round
it.
of funding
I'm
right
here
now.
for it.
So you get it. You guys are gonna get my buy side pitch. So to date, inventory quality has really been the purview of Sincera, Jounce, DeepSea, all these types of companies. And historically, their data sets are built from web crawlers. So
Mhm,
they literally have a crawler, goes
mhm.
out, checks out what's going on a website,
Right.
and derives all their metrics. Um, these companies are all amazing. Like what Jounce and Sincera and DeepSea have done for like media buying in general
Yeah.
is amazing.
Messaging
They've
environment.
taken us so far.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like it's such a thing.
Hmm.
However, um the problem with crawlers is that sometimes the data is not like as accurate as it could be.
Okay.
It's like almost like a sample. So what we do is we work directly with publishers and we say, hey, publisher, we're going to give you tools to understand the experiences your users are actually having. What ad density looks like, what impressions per user looks like, what all those things look like, what viewability, CTR, all that stuff actually looks like.
Hmm.
And then with your permission, publisher, we are going to share that with the buy side. So
Mm.
we're literally going to build PMPs, or we're going to send the data directly into a few DSPs. And I have a few DSPs who can actually use my data. Well, by a few, I mean one. It's media.net. But like, hopefully it's a few soon. And I do have curators who actively use my data in their PMPs today.
Mhm.
And so that's what we do. We are in the business of how do we get real, live, like on the page in the auction data,
Mhm.
share that with buyers so that they can buy more intelligently.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when they can buy more intelligently, they spend more money and publishers make more money. And
Mm.
that's what Gamera does.
So you're the perfect person to talk to us about this whole reseller thing, right? And for y'all listening and watching us, this is literally came across as I think Gareth left a comment, and I was like, wait, hold up, he needs to break it down for me. I was like, the way my mommy brain is set up on this Tuesday morning, I needed him to break it down. And so I reached out to literally reached out to you, and you were like, yeah, no doubt, let's do it. And so here's what I said from a trader perspective, and then I want Gareth you to let me know like your pros and cons, and like maybe help me debunk one of the myths when it comes to this because one, if you classify all SSPs as resellers, resellers for us is somebody that doesn't own this inventory, right? So like you're the
Yep.
middleman. But I feel like you said, I feel like the reseller definition has had a bad rep over the years because
Mhm.
of a lot of things that had happened in the last few years. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, I pulled up the IAB definition of it. And I think it was, where's the IAB definition? Anyway, I think it was something about if you don't own, basically, if you don't own that supply, or if you don't own the data, or if you don't own it, unless it's a unique creative or unique technology, like you're considered a reseller. So, like,
Yep.
if you are if you're the SSP for a bunch of website, but literally just that's it, you're not offering like outside of monetization of the publisher site, you're not offering like a specific my creative is unique. Like for instance, a good example that I brought up was InfoLinks. They were sponsored of the podcast and some of our workshops. But like Bob Reger,
Nice.
CEO, came on the podcast and he explained that, um, being a they're not truly a reseller because what they're offering to their publishers and their community is that unique, media placement. And so
Hmm.
publishers, like if I have a website, let's say, and again, this is where you're supposed to tell me, like, actually, let me correct you, or I agree, or this is correct. But the way I understood it is like, if I'm a publisher, I have a website, and I'm like, yo, I just need to get some money out of this content. And then InfoLinks comes to me and say, listen, not only can I monetize your content, but also you can offer very unique creative placement across your articles that is non-disruptive, that makes sense, contextual, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, okay, bet. And so I'll work with InfoLinks. So in the trade desk, InfoLinks is actually not even an SSP, it's considered a seller, but it's acting as an SSP, right? That's a little detail I just discovered recently. But
Wow.
if I had to bid on InfoLinks, which again, you should if you're listening out there in the streets, I would have to go under the seller setting, not the SSP or supply setting, to add InfoLinks and then exclude
Yeah.
everybody else. But I mean, anyway,
Okay.
so that's
No, I
how,
think I got you.
yeah, I see. That's to me, they're acting as an SSP, but I don't think they're reselling. If I come as a publisher, I'm interested in this very specific creative capability that they have, but also the monetization piece of it. to InfoLinks. Like I don't see InfoLinks
Yeah.
as a reseller, but according to even like the IB definition, it could be. One of our most popular workshop is the optimization bootcamp. Why? Because I am the one walking you through how to look at your data report from any DSP that you downloaded and make changes that are going to turn this data into insight you can use, okay? Beyond just a report. I'm realizing that I may have been missing a very foundational steps, which is understanding what that impression, what that even means on the publisher side. That is why I'm inviting you to this workshop I'm hosting at the end of October with this very special guest called the Sell-Side Programmatic Foundation for Traders and Buyers. This is where I'll take you under the hood to really understand the publisher ad stack. Let me tell you, you'll understand the publisher ad stack. You'll learn why the same impression can arrive through different paths. You'll even discover when to choose open exchange versus PMP, even why and when to do curated deals, okay? So this isn't a theory. This is Excel first. This is checklist driven. This is visualization, hands-on keyboards example that you'll be able to use in your day-to-day. So do me a favor and make sure you sign up as soon as possible because early signups have bonuses coming. So
Yeah. So let me tell you where this came from. Yeah. I think the why is what's going to make this make sense. By the way, I know Bob. Like, Bob is such an OG. I cannot explain. He was there at the very beginning of all of this. I think Bob was the first client of the first programmatic platform that existed. Like, I think he was client number one.
I think he said that on the podcast too.
Yeah,
Episode
it's true.
174, by the way, for those listening. Okay, so talk to us.
It's such a good one. Bob's the man. So, what this was originally invented for is the IB and buyers were seeing the same websites from multiple seller accounts inside of an exchange.
Yeah.
And what a seller account corresponds to inside of an exchange is literally a company that they have a contract with.
Okay.
And buyers were like confused because if you're an exchange and you work with CNN.com and the seller account is CNN.com, why would there be another seller account selling inventory from CNN.com inside the same exchange? It's confusing. Like what's going on there? What is that inventory? Like the exchange, you work directly with CNN. What is this? And so there are really two things going on, or at least two, maybe three. The first one is that companies were like InfoLinks and had unique proprietary placements where they were selling those unique proprietary placements outside of CNN's main ad stack. So on CNN.com, there's a main ad stack, there's a header bidding stack. CNN manages that. There are other placements. There can be widgets. There can be like if you ever see like the comment bar, sometimes like the comments thing, that's a third-party tool for publishers. So sometimes the comments thing is putting ads in there. Yeah. So Discuss is the big one. And sometimes that third-party that comment tool that the publisher is licensing from somebody, they jam some ads in there. These are examples of what I would refer to as widgets, unique placements.
Okay.
Those show up in exchanges, and that's what Bob is.
Okay.
Now, but that is not what they invented the reseller definition for. What they invented the reseller definition for is there are companies that make their business from getting a request for an ad and fanning that out to exchanges themselves. So basically, they insert themselves in the middle between the publisher and all the exchanges, and they hold another auction. And this is part of like transaction ID. Actually, this is part of the bid jamming thing. There are a lot of companies that do this, where publisher calls company A calls ad exchange calls DSP. Okay. That is who the IAB built this for. That is where the concept of reseller comes from, where what they were trying to distinguish is this account direct? Is this the publisher themselves? When the exchange is paying someone, are they paying the publisher directly? Or are they paying someone who is reselling us the publisher's inventory? Okay. And that was the initial goal of this.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why a bunch of these companies got caught in that web, right?
Mhm.
So like Bob's company is one that got caught in that web, but because the exchange was not paying paying the publisher directly. They
Mhm.
were paying Bob, and then Bob was paying the publisher. That's
Mhm.
a reseller.
Got it.
There are a bunch of different types of them now. The other problem that doesn't get captured in the original spec, I think they've made changes to it, is monetization companies like RTK.
Mhm.
Sometimes RTK would manage accounts at exchanges for publishers when my pubs were too small. Like some of my pubs were just literally too small. They couldn't get an account with Magnite. They couldn't get an account with OpenX.
Right.
But those companies worked with me, and I would manage it for the pub. In
Mhm.
that scenario, I'm technically a reseller because they're paying me and I'm paying the publisher.
Got it. Mhm.
But I'm the only way to get it. So that's like not really fair, right? Like, because a lot of people they think back to that first definition I gave you, where it's some person who inserted themselves in the middle. It's
Yeah.
not the publisher directly. It's just someone who is holding another auction. They're just bid duplicating, doing whatever it is. I don't want to buy that. There's extra margin coming out there. It's less efficient.
Mhm.
Um, but a bunch of companies got swept up, right? And Bob's was one of them. They're technically a reseller, but they're not. They're a value add reseller. There's no other way to get Bob's inventory than to buy it from Bob.
Mhm.
This was the same thing with RTK, same thing with Raptive, same thing with all those. So this is all to say the history of this was there are companies that would position themselves between publishers and exchanges and add no other value.
Mhm.
They would just hold an auction. Maybe they do some ID bridging. Maybe they put some floors in there. Who knows? But maybe they're just duplicating.
Mhm.
And there were a lot of those. That was a thing.
Okay.
And I think that's why reseller got a bad name, right? Because people were like, I don't want to buy that, right? Why
Yeah.
would I pay? Why would I let that company make an extra 15-20% on this
Yeah.
transaction? They're
Mhm.
not doing anything. I
Yeah.
just want to buy it direct. I want to buy it from the pub. Um, but this got complicated, right? Because there are a bunch of different types of companies that are resellers. It's
Yeah.
not just the no value add guys. There are some that are value add, like Bob's company.
Ah,
So yeah, so
yes.
that's what it is. That's why it's complicated, and that's why it's confusing. And and now I'm sure the trade desk, right? If you're the trade desk and you take the IAB definition and
Mhm.
you apply it to yourself, which you can, where the trade desk now takes a step back and says, okay, am I paying the publisher directly? Because now they can, right? OpenPath, they're paying the publisher directly.
Mhm.
Technically, everyone else they buy from is a reseller because it's not the publisher directly. So
Oh.
and that's why they did it. They're like, oh, none of these people, these are intermediaries. We're paying this money to them, and they're supposed to pay it to the publisher. We don't know if they do or they don't. That's up to them.
Mhm.
But when we buy through OpenPath, we're paying the pub.
Mhm.
Um, and then I'm sure that was somebody's thinking somewhere. It was a terrible idea, but that's what somebody was thinking. I'm sure when they did this.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so two follow-ups here. First is a
Two,
comment because when I posted the LinkedIn post, and again, if you haven't seen the LinkedIn post, it'll be in the show notes of this podcast or in the YouTube description. But a lot of people left comments, but also I had a lot of side DMs, which is fine. It's always welcome for the sake of learning and networking is always welcome in my world. But a lot of them came from my buyers friends that did not leave comments because they were like, well, we are working with the trade desk right now. We
yeah.
don't want to be cut in the middle of it, but we are hella confused about this move because the trade desk has really taken pride over open exchange, open path, whatever you want to call it, being very transparent with their clients, breaking down the black box that Google has built within DB360 and whatnot. Um,
Mhm.
being so proud of reporting down to the, log level, whatever it is these days. But like when I saw this, I was like, this goes against everything they are training us to understand about the programmatic world, which is transparency and cost efficiency. It's like now I understand that they want to simplify things for us buyers, but there's always a case of just like dumbing it down too much. And
Mhm.
now we're just putting all of these SSPs. And now that I've learned to actually learn from them, like from InfoLinks, from InMobi, from whoever it is. Like now that I'm spending more time with the sell side, I understand like, oh hell, oh okay. Well, this is actually happening. This is what we do to y'all. And it's like one
Yeah.
of these things where, hold up, as a buyer, as a trader, you got to take a step back. Like this is actually not efficiency or transparency. Like if you're just blanketed everything where there's should be like subcategories, I don't know. The industry is just too damn complex to start with, but it is complex. Like I don't think that's the way to simplify the complexity of it. That makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's really fair. And to be honest, I'm like a huge trade desk stan. Like
Same. I grew up
I believe
working on the trade desk,
yeah.
you know? So yeah.
Like I believe they do want what's best for their buyers, and a lot of people are gonna like message me after this and be like, Gareth, you're such a chill. Like, like no, they
You know,
don't.
nothing at
They're
the
a DSP. They take these huge fees. They're my whoever watches this. There's some people who are gonna get mad at me about saying that, but
end.
I really do think it's true. I think that they're generally a good actor, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think you really did. In trying to make this easy to understand
Mhm.
and trying to make it because open path is like the most direct path, like pretty like
Like
indisputably.
straight
Open
up.
path is like straight up. There is no one in between open path and the publisher. So like there's no better way if you're trying to be efficient and and it puts Trade Desk in a hard spot, right? Because Trade Desk, they can't make people buy through OpenPath. And if they tell people that, they kind of look like they're like, just looking out for number one.
Yep.
Like if they tell people like, hey, OpenPath is actually the best. Oh yeah, we also make more money when you buy an OpenPath. People are like, really? We're not sure we trust you. Sorry. Which is a really hard spot to be in. I feel bad for them. But I definitely think they could have done a better job with this, where they were like, hey, look, we're gonna ditch all these silly words that ad tech's been using for a while because nobody understands them. They're confusing. They don't capture the scenarios accurately.
Mhm.
And we're just going to classify inventory sources for you. And we're just not going to say reseller versus direct because you don't know what that means. And in this scenario, like we kind of know what it means, but even
Uh,
then it's like not super accurate. They should have had a little more faith, I think, in their buyers and been like, okay, this is OpenPath. It is direct to publisher only. These guys are exchanges. But within an exchange, right? There's direct and there's indirect inside of an exchange because exchanges buy from other exchanges. They do that too. So like capture that nuance where it's like, hey, and the problem I think is it has to be so granular, it has to be like seller account level inside of exchanges. And I'll bet they were just like, this is too hard to explain.
mhm.
Like we don't want to talk people through this. It's going to be hard to explain. It's going to be hard to use.
Yeah.
Um, we're just going to do this. And yeah, I think
Again, it's so counterintuitive to what, again, the trade desk has always stood for. It's like we're all about education. I would never forget, like, being watching Jeff Green at the Media Post event way back when, 2015, maybe 2016, 2014. I don't think it was 2013. That's too old. That's too young. Yeah. But he stood on that stage at OMA. It was OMA Programmatic, I think it was. And he said, I'm not building the trade desk and I'm paraphrasing, to do programmatic. Like my job is to teach you how to trade, is not to trade for you. And so it really stuck that the CEO of a DSP is like, yeah, I mean, we can trade for you, but like it'll be better if you learn too. And it always stayed like in my spirit a little bit. And I think he even says it in one of the Edge Academy, but it just feels so counter everything. Like it's just goes like I'm just like, well, this is black and white at this point compared to what
yeah,
you've always showed. It's like completely the opposite. Like you flip the coin on us. Um,
that's
and
so interesting.
if you're a programmatic trader or programmatic ninja, here's the truth. Optimizing isn't just about bids and KPIs. The sell side holds the key to effective, efficient, and faster the results. That's why me and a special guest are co-hosting a live workshop at the end of October. It's going to be called Sell-Side Programmatic Foundation for Traders and Buyers. It's about 60 to 90 minutes. We'll take you under the hood of a publisher ad stack. Then I'll show you exactly how to use this information, this intel, in your day-to-day optimization. You'll understand a publisher's ad stack in plain English, learn why the same impression can arrive through different paths, discover when to choose open exchange, PMP, or even maybe a curated deal. I'll even leave you with some questions that every buyer and trader should ask their supply partner in order to maximize that relationship. This isn't just theory or conception, it's Excel first, as you know, hashtag Excel is bae. Checklist driven, is packed with live hands-on keyboard visualization and example, things that you can use on a day-to-day. If you are interested, be sure to sign up because early signups are going to have a special view into a micro-learning series on the same topic that is launching in January. So make sure to sign up and then I'll see you in the workshop. Right. So there's this comment that I want to read to you by Leela Hunt. And she was like, so all SSPs are technically resellers, like you said, based on the definition of the IAB. With the exception of proprietary placement, only the publisher controls the ad space, blah, blah, blah. However, if TTD doesn't buy resold inventory and all SSPs are resellers, what we gonna buy? Well, she didn't say that, but that's how I read it. Even
Yeah.
OpenPath would have to be defined as a reseller, which now that you're talking, OpenPath is pretty much not considered a reseller, right? Because straight to
No.
the desk, right?
Straight to
So,
the pub.
so if the trade desk is telling us we don't want to buy or we don't recommend that you buy resold inventory, all them SSPs are now resellers. What are we going to buy? Are we only
Yeah.
by OpenPath?
It doesn't look great. I'll just put it that way. The optics are just not great. They're not great optics, especially because like I've talked to a few buyers, right? Like I'm in this business now where I've got to like talk to buyers about why my data is valuable, and I hear a lot of them say like we don't even buy from OpenPath. We don't trust it.
Yeah.
And we're like, we buy from two or three exchanges. We haven't started buying on OpenPath yet. Our account management team keeps telling us to try it, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like that is something the trade desk is just they're just gonna have to figure it out. They're gonna have to rebuild that trust where it's like, listen, let us. I think you're so right. Let us educate you, not tell you.
Mhm.
Let us tell you why we think
Give me the
OpenPath is
choice.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let us tell you why. And we'll get nitty gritty with it. Like
Ugh.
we'll go really deep as you want to go. We'll go there for you to tell you this is what this means in our system. This is why and when you should try it or buy it. But they are in a hard spot, right? Like this, the transaction ID thing,
Oh yeah.
which I think is
Yes, before you get into it, let me tell my people
yeah.
what I'm asking you about because
Oh,
Caitlin
please.
Ryan from the Refresh, a architecture media company, started expanding the transaction ID. And she was like, she used her kids' toys. And maybe that's why I can focus on what she was saying because she was just acting with kids' toys as a mom. But I'm a big fan of Caitlin. I mean, I literally she engaged on one of the LinkedIn posts. I was like, "This is you made my day." That the Caitlin O'Brien just engaged on one of my posts. But I mean, she's super great. Strongly recommend if you don't have time to read all them articles from all them trade magazine online, the great ones. Just watch the refresh. It's 2 to 3 minutes. It's really short and sweet. But when she was talking, I think I was so ingrained by the reseller thing that I missed the definition that she had. So like break it down and maybe use the example of what's happening with the reseller, but like WTF transaction ID. Like what that's an additional thing that I know half of my buyers don't know. They don't know about it. Like why
Yeah.
is there
Well,
this?
and I've said this in a few like shows. They don't need to know. Like this is so
Yeah.
in the weeds. Like y'all do not need to worry about this. No, this is something that's become a big controversy. I think it's about to go away. Um, but this is something the trade desk has to deal with. So this is I'm going to defend their position on this, even though I'm like a publisher person, very sympathetic to publishers. But basically, that whole reseller thing we were just talking about, right? With all that complication.
Mhm.
Uh, um, all the different companies that are inserting themselves and duplicating bids and sending out more and more requests. If you just take a step back and think about it, what that results in is every time a publisher has an auction that they're holding on their page, it
Mhm.
gets to trade desk 60 times. And the trade desk for every request, right? Because of all the resellers. So a publisher holds auction here. It pops through InfoLinks. It pops through their publisher direct seat. It pops through reseller number one. It pops through reseller number two. Sometimes on the other side of that, resellers resell to other resellers. By the time it all gets to the trade desk, it's for every one request, it could be 60, even 100 requests that go to the trade desk.
Mhm.
That A costs them money, but they don't really care about that because they're like super rich. But like but B, it makes it hard for them to like optimize stuff. It makes it hard for them to know this is actually this, we should bid this here. And what transaction ID is it's one ID that corresponds to an auction opportunity that's happening on a publisher page. And the trade desk was like, everyone pass this.
Mhm.
There's one auction happening. It's going through resellers, it's going through direct, it's going wherever. But for each auction that happens, it gets one transaction ID, one. And everyone has to pass that all the way through. And we see when we get these 60 things from all of your shenanigans that are happening in the middle, all 60 of them have that one ID. So
Mhm.
we know it's that, and we're going to use that to do stuff, right? We're going to use that to be smarter, to pick our supply paths, to see who's misbehaving, to like see doing X, Y, and Z. It's a transparency ID that is a unique auction identifier. And so that's the transaction ID debate. And the reason it's a debate is because all the shenanigans that happen here
Mhm.
wouldn't happen if they didn't make someone more money.
Mhm.
Um, and that's why they're there, right? Like they can't happen in the middle if they're not making someone money. Now, ostensibly, it's publishers, but I don't think publishers are the primary beneficiaries of this. I think maybe some are, but your average publisher doesn't know what transaction ID is either, right? They don't know or they don't care. They don't know how all this stuff works. They just know, uh, this company called me on the phone. They said if I add them to my thing, I'm going to make more money. Let me just do that. Seriously, that is the life of a publisher. They get called all day by people on the phone who say, "Put my code on your website, and you'll make more money."
Mhm.
And the publishers just are kind of like, okay, oh, sure, right? Like that's their life, and it's probably exhausting. And I'm one of those people, so I feel for the publishers that I call on the phone where I'm like, hey, I'm going to make you more money. Like, but I think that the trade desk wanted this, and frankly was already using it,
Mhm.
and but somebody posted on LinkedIn and was like, why wouldn't you pass us this? We don't understand. Like this is a transparency thing. We want everyone to be transparent with what's going on. Why
Yeah.
would you not give this to us? And then some publishers freaked out. They were like, oh, well, we make more money from this not being transparent. We're going to make a change that makes this less transparent than it is. And then the trade desk lost their mind. They were like, wait, you're telling us you're going to make this ecosystem less transparent? Like, no, absolutely not. Um, and that's what happened. That's the transaction ID debate. Now, the reason I said that it's over and that you don't need to worry about it
Okay,
is
good.
because at the end of the day, Trade Desk is repping buyers here, right? They want this to work well,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is they're just going to say, "Listen, it's our way or the highway. We want this, and if we don't get this, then we're just not going to buy.
Mhm.
So figure it out."
Mhm.
Um, because they kind of have that power, right? They're big enough where they don't have to spend money on publishers who don't want to share data with them and share transparency with them.
Yeah.
Um, and that's not me like trying to take their side. That's just me saying like the hard truth of the matter.
Mhm.
Um, they're not obligated to spend that money on them.
I wonder
So
if
that's why it was so crazy. That's why it was so messy.
I wonder if you're like, if you're SSP, you're like just minding your business, drinking your water, and every morning you wake up and look at a trade desk update and be like, for Malik's sake, what the WTF is this now? Like, what do we have? I feel like every other day there's something happening that one, the traders
Hmm.
know about, but I'm like, no, maybe I should know for what's up with some of these people, right? Because more than ever, and this is what we train, right? So we train teams, but we all also have the accelerator program. But like the main thing I do is It's like this optimization session. It's like 3 or 4 of them actually. And I literally go through a site list from a report from the trade desk. Ironically, it's just one of the old report that I have on hand. I scrubbed all the important data, whatever. And I literally walk them through this is how you're supposed to make decision based on that KPI. But now that I spend so much more time intentionally with the sell side, the supply side, because I want to understand like what's up, like what are y'all, what's going on out there? I realize like you can do this, but also it's time for us traders and buyers to reach out bypassing
Mhm.
the DSPs and the SSPs, which you can still reach out to them as well, right? Because they're our friends. But like bypassing them and going straight to the seller or to the media owner or to the publisher and saying like, yo, your website is performing well. Like what's happening? Like talk to us about the audience, help us build something else. Or if it's not performing well, then you reach out to that referral source, which is the SSP or the seller, and say, you ain't performing. Give me back my money. It's not gonna happen, but at least they're gonna be like, how about we do this instead? Which is fine. You want to get
Yeah.
attention, right? You don't want to you don't want to do that. But no, I'm just joking. But still, like it's time for us buyers to like start calling the Gareth or the Bob or the whoever and really understand like one, again, it's also a complex world on the other side of the equation, but also like the details is where the beauty is, in my opinion. Like literally InfoLinks is not a reseller, but it's considered reseller. But what they do for the publisher is great, right? Like it's like I don't want my brand to be represented on
Yeah.
like a basic website. I don't know what basic website will look like these days, but like I want it to like I want the brand to be represented. And if the user is cool and natively happy to be on the website, then I want the brand to reflect that. And some of those people, again, not, InfoLinks is the best example because we've been using it, but like people like InfoLinks help the user have that experience. And so at the end of the day, I feel like we're focusing so much on the technology that we forget, like, oh, who's the end user? Advertisers just have the pocket, right? So they have a lot of influence on how publishers are doing things, fortunately and unfortunately. But it's like, why
Yeah.
are we really discussing this right now? Like, why is this even in the conversation?
I think so. Here's the thing. I do think it's growing pains. I, I think this is one where the DSPs historically didn't care,
Mhm.
right? They didn't care about transparency. They didn't care about all this reseller madness. They just said, hey, at the end of the day, I got all this data
Mhm.
and I'm going to pick what's best for me. I want it all. Send it all to me. And they're starting to change their mind about that, where
Yeah.
they're starting to be like, okay, actually, we want to take a little bit more of a principled position in creating transparency here.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing, but I think it's something we should just let them do. Like, let them figure this out and get mad at them when they don't give us transparency as buyers. Like, get mad. You should be like, hey, don't treat me like I'm dumb. You can
Like,
tell me that this is this. You can tell me that this is this. You don't have to say this is all reseller, this is all not reseller. Like, you can get descriptive. Like, I'll learn this.
yeah.
Um, but the other thing that I would say to buyers is there's so much depth in one publisher.
Mm.
So I'll tell you one thing that we do at Gamera, because I mean, you told me I could be shameless. I'm gonna be
You,
shameless.
you go ahead
Um,
and make them plugs in. Go ahead. I'm here for it.
all right. So one thing that we do
Uh-huh.
is we classify all of the advertising opportunities on a publisher site.
Hmm.
So we have our own way outside of placements, outside of all that stuff, where that we say, oh, this advertising opportunity is actually this 300 by 250
Uh-huh.
on this layout, and it's on this device.
Mhm.
And then we think that performs well or doesn't perform well. It's more granular than any other data.
Mhm.
And when I think about what we do, right, where we typically have hundreds and hundreds of these different opportunities that we measure performance on a publisher site, and we like categorize them and do all that stuff. And then I think about a media buyer who's just in a DSP and runs a site list and does it by domain.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's actually crazy. Like inside that domain, there is so much granularity. There are some placements that are 95% viewable that have amazing CTR. And then there are some placements that are terrible and no one should ever buy. And like, that's, but all that all exists deep inside, right? That's all you have to look deeper. We have to have systems that do that, or you got to talk to a pub.
If you're a programmatic trader or buyer, here's the truth. Optimizing isn't just about bids and KPI. It's the supply side that holds the key to smarter, efficient, and effective results. That's why me and a special guest are co-hosting a live workshop at the end of October. It's going to be called Sell-Side Programmatic Foundation for Traders and Buyers. It's just about 60 to 90 minutes like all of my workshops. We'll take you under the hood of a publisher ad stack, then show you exactly how to use this intel into your day-to-day optimization. You'll understand a publisher's ad stack in plain English, learn why the same impression can arrive through different paths, discover when to choose open exchange, PMP, or even a curated deal. I'll even leave you with 5 to maybe 8 smart questions every traders and buyers should be asking their supply partners or the publishers that they work with. This isn't like a theory. It's Excel first, it's checklist driven, it's packed with example, hands-on keyboard visualization you can use every day. We're running our first session in October with the option of a micro learning series in January that you'll find out during the workshop. Seats are limited, so grab yours early and let's optimize smarter together.
And if you talk to a publisher and you say, hey, my goal is CTR, right? CTR. The publisher will make you a PMP with different inventory than you will see if you just set up a campaign to buy.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's part of what I'm trying to fix. But I think I totally agree with you. I think that this is the conversations have to happen right now.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta get buyers into the same room, and instead of us wasting time on understanding the definition of resellers, like I would rather understand, like, okay, if I'm optimizing the site list or the domain list this way, like the implications, how to grow, how to turn this data source into insight. Like actually, like I know my audience because this is where they consume most of the media, where they spend the most time listening. I know they buy diapers from this site, things like that, or insight based on that user behavior. And that's how we become better at what we do, but not really like spending time on all damn resellers thing, like for sure. And I'm not throwing shades again, but maybe I am. It's like we're so hungry.
Yeah.
Literally, all of my friends that reached back, a few of them were from media holding companies, so big spenders in the trade desk. Others were independent agency, also big spenders in the trade desk and other DSPs. And they're all like, yo, what WTF? Like, why? I'm already struggling training my team to be efficient enough in the exercise that is optimizing, analyzing, and making changes intelligently. The other one was like, yo, my team barely can QA a campaign right now. What the fuck is this happening? Like they couldn't even say that.
Yeah.
So like I would rather like those DSPs to go back to when, like I literally remember, and I'm gonna wrap it up because we have to I want to honor your time here. But I literally remember when the trade desk support team was on a call with us 1 hour a week, and we went through every single one of our campaigns, and they were like, "Oh no, you should try this and this and this," and they shared this 80-page PDF saying if you're running a behavioral
I've
target,
heard of this.
third-party audiences, base bid, max bid should be around this. These are the best practices. Here's how to analyze it. Here's how to make changes. Like all of this, right? I don't even know where it is actually. I don't have the digital copy. It was printed. It was like all 80 pages printed. But that was like our optimization Bible, literally. But like instead, we focus on all of this. I want to go back to this to the optimization Bible and like just keep doing things and build SPO from that and really understand if OpenPath is a thing or build our own OpenPath. I don't know. It's like easier said. It's easier to do it these days. If I guarantee you, if you're a trader, you're a buyer listening, and you reach out to publishers, and just like what Gareth said, you ask them questions and they're like, yeah, let me send you a PMP. Like that's literally your open pattern right there. You're building your own SBO almost. And again, don't hold me on the
Yeah.
definition here. So what we need this. We need to go back to this because this
Yeah.
ain't no way. But thank you so much, Gareth, for stopping by. I feel like we can talk about this for another hour. It would have been nicer with a cocktail or wine, but it's okay. It's the middle of the day. We're not gonna be like that. We both have little kids to go parent after this. So
This is true.
not the last time we'll hear from Gareth. If anybody wants to reach out to you, Gareth, how can they do so?
Yeah. LinkedIn is good. My email is good. It's on my website, Gareth at Gamera.ai.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I respond to everybody. So please don't be shy. I'm like
Lovely. Lovely.
happy to have anyone reach out, however.
Lovely. Well, I'll have all of Gareth's information, his website, his LinkedIn in the show notes again. Thank you again, Gareth, and we will see him very soon.